Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Hope all is well. God is real. He's not what you think. What does this mean? It's a nice play on words, but I think it really captures the point of God's existence. That is, God is real. He is the source. He is the enlivenment of the entire world. Not an atom on this world exists without Hashem causing it to exist at every moment. However, I say He is not what you think because our thought cannot grasp what Hashem is. Therefore, people who may argue, in the past have argued against God's existence, they try to come at it from a place of their own personal limited understanding. And that is their ignorance, is that they assumed that God, that their limited understanding can grasp the beyond unlimited God, Hashem. Hashem is the creator of the world. He causes every part of this world to exist at every moment. How can someone's limited and small brain grasp that creation? So, by realizing that the world exists, we can come to realize that Hashem exists. That if I exist, my limited self exists, how much more so does there have to be a creator? When you see a creation, you know that there's a creator. When me, a human being, a developed, personal, existing, conscious person exists, how much more so does there have to be a beyond limited being? Beyond just a being, a beyond limited existence, and that is the existence of Hashem who causes me to exist. However, there is a way in the Zohar that tells us that we can grasp Hashem. How could it be? We just said that no thought can grasp Hashem, and we know that, of course, you can come to appreciate and recognize God's existence through your intellect. You could meditate and reflect upon the existence of the world, and you could come to realize that there in fact sure is a God, but you can't grasp His existence. You can't understand His ways fully. You could recognize that He's there, but you can't necessarily understand how His experience is, so to speak. But the Zohar, the Holy Zohar, the Kabbalistic text tells us and informs us actually that there is a way to grasp Hashem. And what is that? That is through something called Re'usa de Liba. Aval Berusa de Liba Tfeisa Bey. With Re'usa de Liba we do grasp Him. What is Re'usa de Liba? This is through our heart being aroused, we can grasp God. We learn in Kabbalah that intellect is far beyond emotions. In this world, the way to feel an emotion is through the intellect. When you understand that something is good for you, then you feel good about it. When you understand that something is harmful to you, you feel afraid of it. And when you understand that something is wondrous, you feel in awe of it. It is all through this intellectual recognition that it causes the emotions to exist. However, we learn that in their source, in their makor, above, emotions are far higher than intellect. In the source, in the divine, in the divine realm. So, when we cause ourselves to feel a love and a desire and a longing for God in this world with our hearts, that is how we grasp God. Because God can be grasped by the heart of man. So this is where those people erred by thinking that their intellect can grasp Hashem. It can't. They did not recognize the power of the heart, because that is where God is found. Through learning Hasidic and Kabbalistic teachings, you do need the intellect. You do need the intellect to connect to God. You use your intellect to understand more about God and to get closer to God and to allow the divine light to fill your intellect. However, that is only to bring you to a deeper place, to feel an arousement, a love and a desire and a fear and an awe of God in your heart. And that is where you can grasp God. When you feel an empathy for your fellow, when you see somebody in pain, you see somebody suffering and you feel empathetic towards them, and you feel sorry for them, and you want things to be better for them, and you care for your fellow, that is where God can be grasped. That is where God can be found. So it's important. It's not to say that we can't connect to God through our intellect. We can, we surely can, and that is the whole purpose of why the Rebbeim and the masters, the Hasidic masters, and all the tzaddikim have revealed to us such deep secrets in the Torah, because this divine light can fill our minds. There is divinity. We can connect to God through our minds. There's oceans of divinity found in these texts that we can connect to, but we can never reach a place of grasping fully, of reaching the top through the studying of the text. There's always more and more to learn. However, when that text, no matter what it is, causes you, or when that life experience causes you to reach a place within the heart, that is where God can be grasped. And that is why the Zohar says, "Aval berusa diliba tfeisa bei," within the grasp, within the arousing of the heart, that is where God can be found. So remember, whenever you find yourself in a place of intellectual discussion about the existence of God, remember that while, of course, there's countless teachings that can prove how God exists, countless Torah teachings that attest and connect to God's existence, that is one step, but the whole purpose is to connect to God with your hearts, and that is where you feel God's essence and connect to God's essence, where that is the top. Because whenever we find ourselves empathizing with another person, we find ourselves maybe crying for another person, for someone else's pain, or we find ourselves appreciating how much God does for us, and we feel a longing for God and a gratitude towards God and a love for God, that is where God's essence is found, my friends. So may Hashem bless you all. May we experience this today. And when Mashiach comes, this will be open and revealed, and it will be found in every part of existence. We'll feel this longing, this love. Beyond just the longing, we'll feel God's presence within our hearts and within our minds. And that's what's interesting, is while the intellect is above the emotions, the intellect in this world is above the emotions, but then it activates the heart, which connects to the source. Then it could go back up to the intellect. And then you could start to appreciate and intellectualize that tremendous divine emotion, and then you can come to a place of grasping God in your mind as well, because it's coming from the heart. So that heart will take over the mind. The mind will be filled with the divine essence. So my friends, may Hashem bless you all. May we experience this all today.